Now, on the heels of those elections that we just had a week or so ago, where you had the Virginia races, the New Jersey races, the New York City races, and a few other ones, Virginia, that went across the country, and the Democrats were using that as this big momentum push, saying, yeah, look at that. The Democrats are going to take back the House and take back the Senate, when in reality, it's like, pump the brakes. Those were in deep blue states, deep blue cities, and you were projected to win. As a matter of fact, a Republican winning would have been a huge upset. But they're taking that as the wrong signal, especially after those elections when they finally had to cave in to President Trump and his administration after they were trying to get $1.5 trillion, give illegal free health care, and prop up those radical publications like PBS and NPR. But now it's getting even worse. We back into reality because they were going to use those elections to try to trick voters around the country and act like this big momentum for the Democrats and people are jumping on the train when it's absolutely the opposite. And in this video, I'm going to point out the opposites, and we're going to talk about California specifically. So I'm going to show you video clips of what's going on in California that you want to pay attention to, because who controls California plays a huge impact, not only on our country, but what's happening in the White House. That's one of the biggest, largest. It was the 5th largest economy in the world as of at one point. I'm not sure if that's the same anymore, because the Hollywood studios, big businesses are fleeing New York. They leaving it like it's yesterday. So this video, though, is about Katie Porter. Crazy Katie is what I call her. She's that insane, radicalized left-wing Democrat politician out of California, the former congresswoman who allegedly dumped hot mashed potatoes on her husband's head, is extremely verbally abusive to him and allegedly other family members. But her abuse doesn't stop at the house, on the home front. She brings it into the workplace. You know, they say you're supposed to leave your problems at the door. She brings the problems in because she is the problem. Now, in case you aren't familiar with who Katie Porter is, I want you to check out this clip of Katie Porter that Fox News did, and then we're going to get back into the video because a Republican is winning. A Republican is in the lead in the governor race in California, and I'm going to break that down for you. Check this clip out so you can either be reintroduced or be introduced to who Crazy Katie Porter is. Check this out.
Frontrunner Katie Porter is facing growing calls to exit the California governor's race. Those calls sparked by viral videos, not one, but now there's more than one, of Porter having full-blown meltdowns. Here's a taste.
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care.
Politico with this headline: Katie Porter's viral videos plunge campaign into disaster. It quotes a veteran Democrat strategist as saying, "Is this a disaster? Yes. And the reason it's a disaster is because it amplifies what her reputation already is." Interesting. Let's learn more. William Lajeunesse is in line. Frontrunner Katie Porter.
So that was a clip of Katie Porter in her infamous interview she did with a CBS reporter, where the reporter just asked her, hey, you know, what do you have to tell those voters who voted for Trump that you want to vote for you? And she said, you know, I don't need them. And then she said, so you think every single Democrat person is just going to vote for you? She said, well, in a general election against a Republican, yes. And she's like, well, you know, what if you don't? And just with that one simple follow-up, Katie Porter lost her mind, shut the interview down, and the video clip went viral. But here's another clip that came out after her losing her mind during that softball interview from a radicalized, propaganda-driven CBS. She melted down on that. Look at what she does to her staffer.
State could lose. You're out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. State could lose.
Now think about how ungrateful she is. She was just giving some information. She was sharing information on this Zoom call that was totally wrong. Her staffer stepped in to let her know, hey, listen, no, according to the Paris Climate Accord, we doing this, that, and the other. Stay out of my effing shot. The girl helps her out. And then she's, rather than saying, you know what, thank you, I appreciate that, she accepts the answer and say, well, you were in my shot earlier too. Stay out of it. This is the mentality of the woman that was running for governor of California. Now check this out in this interview where she tries to, you know, she wants to make amends because she knows her campaign is tanking. And then I'm going to introduce you to who is winning the campaign right now as a Republican. But check this out, her trying to cop a plea.
Can voters be confident that there won't be another one of those videos that's going to come to light?
What I do know is that I could have done better in that situation.
But that's not a no. So is there potentially another video that we're going to see?
Nikki, I'm going to be honest with you. I know
that video was several years ago, as you know, and I apologize to the staffer. That's super important to me, and will continue to try to hold myself to do better. That's what I can promise.
But not that there's not going to be any more videos, because that's what people are wondering. Are we going to see something else like that?
I can tell you what I've told you, which is that I am taking responsibility for this situation, and I'm also not going to back down from fighting back for California, from being tough. I don't think this is a moment where the same old is going to cut it. But that doesn't change the fact that what I did to that staffer was wrong. I've acknowledged it to her in that moment, and I'm acknowledging it now.
So, and if you paid attention to her answer earlier, she said, well, I apologize to that staffer, and that's important, right? She said, letting the interviewer know, hey, I've done that, and that's the important part. I apologize. Let's just move past it. And then they try to use this whole excuse of, these are different times, and I'm going to fight for Californians. What does fighting for Californians have to do with you being disrespectful to members of your staff? What can that possibly have to do with that? Nothing at all. But they're using Trump, their Trump derangement. They use it as their reasoning for everything they do bad. The state of California is in the trash. Gavin Newsom blames this because he's got to fight Trump. In New York, they freaking just elected a socialist. Well, we got to do it because Trump. Prices. Now, the CEO of Walmart spoke to Senator Mullen from Oklahoma, a Republican, and said that across the board, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I will never ask you for a cash out, a donation, or a super chat. You hitting that like button helps enough. And if you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. And whether you're subscribed already or subscribing now, make sure that you hit the notification bell and you select all. That way, YouTube will make sure that you get notified when I upload new videos. The prices of Walmart are down 20%. Right? 20%. Fact of the matter. Now, you got certain companies that are based in blue states that are not just in their price. And guess what they're saying? Oh, it's the Trump tariffs. That's why my prices are high. No, it's not. You're using Trump as an excuse for you to try to generate and make as much money as you can, as quickly as you possibly can. And so politicians are running on hate Trump, not what am I going to do, not how am I going to help you, is hate Trump. And they're realizing it didn't work in 2024. And in those elections, in those deranged deep blue cities, yeah, it'll work because everybody there is deranged. And remember now, in these blue states, it's not like the whole state just loves the Democrats. They are the kings and queens and whatever else they want to label themselves as of gerrymandering. Every single blue state is gerrymandered. Every single blue city is structured in a way that you have the least educated voters with the biggest impact in the election. Why? That's the only way you could say, call somebody a fascist, and an ignorant voter has no idea what that is. So they believe that what that person's doing is a fascist. How can you possibly think Trump is a fascist, but not think that Joe Biden was the fascist to the 100th power, forcing jabs, forcing people to lose their jobs, censoring people, all because they disagree. But let me introduce you to who is winning the election in California. And that is Sheriff Chad Bianco. Sheriff Bianco, the Republican, there's two Republicans. There's him, and then you got Steve Hilton. He's a foreign guy from Britain, I want to say. Extremely wealthy businessman. He's running too. But we got a Republican, the Sheriff Chad Bianco, that is in the lead. Now, here is Sheriff Bianco when he made his metamorphosis. Because remember, in California, to be sheriff, and depending on where you live at, you probably have some left views, but most of them are not left-leaning radicals. When you look at the state and you see how it's gerrymandered, you realize majority of the people, especially Republicans, they don't have any power or influence. 40% of the state of California votes Republican. In California, Republicans vote 40% Republican. 40%. But yet, the electorate, as far as their congressional members or their state, does not match at all what the voters want, because California is what you call a super majority, which means it is so Democrat dominant that they will reign supreme until a new governor comes in. State reps start getting elected out. And with the way that they just passed that Prop 50, I don't know if there's any type of saving California. And they did it to themselves because they allowed Gavin Newsom to use Trump derangement to get them to vote against their own best interests. And that's what the Democrats are great at, using fear and chaos. But check out Sheriff Bianco.
Law enforcement, apparently, if you listen to our governor, is systemically racist. If you listen to our legislature, our laws are systemically racist. Our judicial system is systemically racist. All of these people that are being put in jail are because of law enforcement bias and DA bias and all of these things. And so they let them out. They give them food. They give them housing. They give them money. They give them drugs and alcohol now. And I got to be honest, I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired. And I'm wondering if I'm having a change of heart and deciding that, you know what, maybe I've been wrong. And I think I'm going to change teams. I know it's going to make some of you angry. I know that you're going to be mad at me, but I'm going to change teams. I think they're onto something, but I don't think they're doing enough. I think that we need to go big. You know me, go big or go home. You're the biggest, you do the best, you're the best at everything, and you might as well do something right if you're going to do it. And I'm all in. And I hope that you're all with me. I hope that you all have this change of heart. You all feel that this is definitely the right thing to do, and you come alongside me in this venture. And I think it's time that instead of letting them out of jail and giving them alcohol and drugs and everything else, I think it's time we put a felon in the White House. Trump 2024, baby. Let's save this country and make America great again.
Talking about all this stuff politically, I want to take a second to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video, Chapter. Now, Chapter has been doing a tremendous job, especially as the open enrollment period is upon us now, at helping seniors make sure they got the best Medicare plan available. And a phone call that's less than 20 minutes and it's absolutely free. You can speak with one of the Chapter's highly skilled and unbiased agents to make sure that your prescriptions are still protected and that your doctors are still in network, because it would suck to be paying in or investing in a plan just to find out your prescriptions are no longer covered and your doctors are no longer in network. But you shouldn't even take that chance. You can give a phone call to the number on that screen, or you can visit the website askchapter.org/real politics and let one of the Chapter specialized agents make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. Now, this video is from back in early 2023 when he just had the epiphany. He's out here working law enforcement. His guys, his men and women are out there risking their lives, arresting people just to be released out. The illegal immigrant invasion, he got sick of it. Matter of fact, here's a little bit more. Since that metamorphosis that he's made, he's fully taken on the mantle for the Republican Party and has immersed himself in it. So check this out. Your reintroduction to Sheriff Chad Bianco. All right, now here's an interview that he did on Wake Up America, and he just blasts Gavin Newsom. I really like this guy. And the reason why it's so important that we pay attention to this election, because, yeah, in deep blue California, the fact that a Republican is leading in the governor's race says a lot. It says that the politicians are speaking for the people. And the only time the people get a chance to speak for themselves is in governor races and presidential elections. But when it comes to those state and local elections, they don't stand a chance. And you know what? They don't. Just like in New York. Do you know in New York State right now, Elise Stefanik is leading Kathy Hochul. Deep blue New York has a Republican winning. So where the Democrats took those little races that they were projected to win in deep blue states, okay, kudos. Nobody should be a sore loser. They won them. Give them their credit. But they were supposed to win it. Any Republican winning would have been an upset. You got Zoran Mamdani, the freaking socialist. He's the only socialist that won, though. What the liberal media is not talking about is out in Minnesota, Omar Fatah, that they thought was going to win, the Somali socialist that's supported by Ilhan Omar, he lost. And Mayor Frey stayed in as the mayor of Minneapolis because they tried to get that. He's a socialist, another Democrat socialist radical that's promoted by Ilhan Omar. They tried to sneak him in there with all the fraud going on in Minnesota. And guess what? He lost. So those couple races, they can have that. But check out Sheriff Bianco in this interview.
That's exactly right. That's why I'm part of the lawsuit that's suing this state to end SB 54. This is only happening only happening because ICE is targeting criminals. These people that are out here, let's say they're protesting. They are protesting the deportation of rapists, murderers, robbers, drug dealers, everything else that's going on, that they are targeting individually. And they are targeting the businesses that are cartel owned, that are involved in human trafficking, that are involved in drug trafficking. And these people are supposedly out there protesting, and you have a failed governor and a complete incompetent mayor who is encouraging people to protest and blaming it on the president who did something to help after the fact. You can't change a timeline and you can't change facts. The timeline is, as this all happened, law enforcement was being overrun, nothing was happening, local law enforcement is having to come and help, and so the president sent the National Guard and the military in to protect assets. This lie that these politicians are saying that the military is going to be used against its residents is an absolute lie, and these politicians should truly remove themselves from office because they have no position ever to be representing the people that vote them in when they lie like this to the public.
You got to like the guy, calling balls and strikes, and I'm rooting for him. As a matter of fact, Gavin Newsom goes around, and he's the type of person that while California burns down, he'll get on stage and tell people how great California is and how awesome California's doing and yada, yada. But it's all about Trump. You notice Gavin Newsom always talks about Trump. He very rarely wants to focus in and talk about his state. Remember when he did that debate against Ron DeSantis and got destroyed? This man has more lives than a cat because you're the governor of a failing state. You've got illegal immigration out the Yahoo. You've got all types of monies that is missing. You've got homelessness that is out of control, that is crazy rampant, like hundreds of thousands of homeless people. It's worse than when he took office, and they spent more money than ever in history, and the problem's gotten worse. Look at what California is number one in, though. They are number one in a lot of things. Look at that. Number one in homelessness, poverty, addiction, gas prices, income tax, gas tax. Just a few of the greatest hits. But it doesn't stop there. I want you to listen to the other gubernatorial candidate that I spoke about earlier, Steve Hilton. Now, Steve Hilton right now is in third place. He was even above Katie Porter, but she kind of leapfrogged him now. Katie Porter is trailing only Sheriff Chad Bianco. But listen to Steve Hilton, somebody else who may, because it's still kind of early, who may end up being the governor of California. Check this out.
Well, the whole thing is absolutely outrageous. Gavin Newsom loves to run around saying he's just responding to Texas. That's total BS. California, despite what you hear about having an independent districting system, that was hijacked by the Democrats. It's a massively gerrymandered state already. If we had representation in California instead of the gerrymandered maps we already have, we'd have another 12 House seats for Republicans. Newsom's already stolen 12 House seats. Now he wants another 5. He claimed it was responding to Texas at the last minute. In their own legislation, they took out what they called the Texas trigger that conditioned what they were doing on whatever Texas did. Now it's just very plain. They wanted to do it anyway because he wants to be seen as the guy who's sticking it to Trump, getting those extra House seats so they can flip the House, impeach the president, in Gavin Newsom's words, end the Trump presidency. Meanwhile, the state that he's supposed to be running, we have the highest unemployment in the country, the highest poverty rate in the country, the highest cost for gas, electricity, water, everything, the worst business climate. Businesses are leaving. When they leave, instead of trying to attract them back, what does he do? Insult them on social media. This guy is a total joke. The sooner he goes, the better. I know he's termed out. Honestly, I think we'd be better off with nothing. You talked about an empty suit. I think he's an empty governor. We'd be better off with nothing. I'm running, obviously, to change things. The election's not till next year. We can't wait that long. We need to get on with it.
Woo, great talk. But that's Steve Hilton. Now, he's not even a U.S. born. He is a U.S. citizen, but he's not U.S. born. Very successful businessman, running as a Republican. But he seems like he gets it. I've listened to a lot of his talks. He gets it. But the point being, deranged, crazy Katie has dipped. And she's blown her chance of being governor, in my opinion, I feel. And it looks like we just might have a Republican running the state of California again. We haven't seen that since the Terminator, Arnold. Will a Republican be back? You know what? That was lame. I apologize. I don't want to end on that. You know what? Thank you for watching this video. If you stuck in with me to the end, I appreciate you. I want to thank you from the top and bottom of my heart. I really do. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And if you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. Most importantly, I want you to stay safe and you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.